Hey YouTube, what's going on? How are you guys doing today? My name is Strawhat Izzy, aka The Easy Cruise if you follow me on Twitch. And today I'm bringing you a deck profile from my first place winning deck from Guide Force Gaming's tournaments this Monday, where I won a cool Imperial mat. It's on the way. And yeah, really good competition, really good competitors, a lot of fun. You guys should join the Discord if you get a chance. Now, this won't be the exact deck list that I played because I felt like I made better improvements as I was playtesting post that tournament. Tournament happened Monday, it's currently Friday. So I figured I'd give you guys what I think is the better deck list and talk about my choices. We did play under the Mulligan side deck rule, so that was really cool. It was the first tournament that we actually got to play test that type of format, and I think it was very beneficial for myself, especially. So I'll go ahead and start off with the deck profile. We started off with the eggs, and my deck was yellow purple. So I played two Demi Marimon and then two Xiaomon. Uh, I don't own four of this card, but even then, I think I still would rather just play like multiples of this one because it comes up to deal with larger bodies. And the draw one, pitch one is only good for one of the rookies I play. What I think you should do is probably just add like a third one, third Xiaomon. I just don't feel like looking for one right now, so probably play five eggs. Sometimes the ground game comes up, or like you go through all your rookies and then you just want to hatch an egg so you can play your cards. That's somewhat important. But these are eggs I played. This came up I think once, and like drawing cards, discarding cards is like pretty. The draw is really good. The discard is kind of difficult in this deck, so hence why I would probably even do like four Xiaomon and like one Demimera, because I think the Xiaomon is way more potent than the Demimera is. From there, since I'm playing purple eggs, I'm obviously playing some purple rookies. We played two Tapermon because this card says draw one. It's one of the reasons I don't want to cut Demi Marimon completely because draw two and then pitch one is actually really strong. Um, it gives you a little bit of aggression and it goes well with cards that are already in my side deck. So I think this card is really good as far as a rookie to play, and I just need really good purple rookies for this deck. From there, I played two Gazimon because it's a really good floodgate. Sometimes I want three, but I really don't want to cut this card because I like the aggression, and like floodgates are cool, but since it's a rookie, it doesn't usually stick for too long. So I just kind of only wanted to play two, and like if I could fit a third, I'd play a third. And the last purple rookie I played was Elecmon. So this was like a last minute decision because this was the third Gazi, but then I was like, you know what? Let me try Elecmon because on deletion I can like swing if I have a Demimera, I can like draw one, pitch one, or I can swing into a big body, have Xiaomon under it, have the retaliation, and then pop a level 3. So usually like a Pokemon or a Floodgate type of Digimon like Gazimon or like Madoki, Cutemon, those type of cards. Uh, I was very happy with this lineup. I think this is like probably the best lineup of rookies you can play for the format because they all have their own utilities, and I think they're all really strong. From there, I did play two more rookies, but they're not purple. Two copies of Pokemon. So the reason I like Pokemon is because on play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add a hybrid and a tamer, and then if he's on field, which he very rarely sticks, but if he is, it's really cool. When you Digivolve over a tamer, you gain 2 memory. The reason I'm not playing like 4 of it, like a lot of people do, is because I don't think this card sticks long enough. There's cards like Gazimon that do block it, so it's not like that strong. And then because this card doesn't stick, like you don't get the full value of it, but being able to search cards early in the game is really strong. So I still decided to play 2 of it, and if it does stick, that's a cool bonus. From there, let's go ahead and talk about the champion cards, which are all hybrids. For Kazemon because it's Lobo, right? And like Lobo for game is crazy. It doesn't do anything else, but you have to play 4. For Zephyrmon, for those who don't know, it boosts your security by plus 3000 until the end of your opponent's turn if you Digivolve over Zoe or over a hybrid. So it's pretty strong. Digivolving over your Kazemons for 1 is pretty good for the memory game. And then just good. I'm really glad the yellow got some hybrids, let alone like fairly good ones. I'm glad these cards don't do anything crazy because the next card we're gonna see. But I'm really happy with them. They were fantastic. Those are usually my game enders as well. Like your hybrids usually end the game, so have to play 8 of them. Next is 4 Jet Sylphimon. This is probably the best card in the set, to be honest with you. Uh, on Digivolve, recovery +1, and then if it has a tamer in its source, it reduces its Digivolution costs by 2, so it's only for 1. So you get to go like Zephyr, boost your security, and then like Digivolve to Jet Sylphie, gain a security, so kind of broken. Going into Ultimate for only like 1 cost is a little absurd. And yeah, it was really good. Can't complain. From there, I did play 2 more Ultimates, 2 copies of Rise Greymon. The reason I played Rise is for when I have to evolve over my tamers. Inherently, that like loses me tempo, but by playing Rise, I can digivolve, draw, and then play a tamer to replace the tamer that I played. So I still drew 2 cards, have the same amount of tamers, and on top of that, it gives my Mega Security +1 in a deck that otherwise doesn't have a lot of aggression. So that's why we play 2. It was really good. From there, I will talk about the megas. I know I'm doing this a little bit out of order, but I'll talk about the tamers last because they're kind of important. Probably the most important cards in the deck. 3 copies of Shine Greymon. On Monday, I was only playing 2. I've bumped it up to 3 because I want this card to deal with my top end. And with the amount of tamers we're playing, it's a really good top end type of removal card. On top of that, it gets really big with the amount of tamers you have, and with the Rise Greymon under it, you get a security +1. So you're swinging for a lot of damage um, at high levels and high intervals. So, and sometimes that's just enough to beat your opponent or put them in range of like a hybrid, right? Because a 15, 16, up to like 20,000 Shiny Greymon that's security +1 doesn't die to like anything. From there, I'm playing 1 Seraphimon. You use this for like the faster matchups. You always side this card out for the mirror. Because on play, if you have a tamer, you recover 1, and then on deletion, you recover 1. So usually you swing, this gets you a little bit of aggression, and then if they don't deal with it, you continue to do checks. If they do deal with it, you recover 1, so you get some type of resource out of it either way. So really strong card. And then the last card, I wasn't playing this on Monday, but I've changed it uh, now. I'm playing 1 copy of Kazuchimon. The reason being is yellow doesn't have a lot of aggression, but this card, if you have 3 or more security, gives you security +1. And then if you have less than 3 security, when you digivolve, you go back to 3. So if you're at 0 security, you can digivolve into this and then just go back to 3 security, which is absurd. So probably a card I really wanted to play on Monday. I was playing War Greymon, and War Greymon's really good for the mirror, but the issue with War Grey is he can die to like quite a few things. And in retrospect, like taking a security card for myself and then hitting my opponent's security can only sometimes be good because we still keep even in the mirror, and you want to be at less in the mirror actually. So this card's really good. In testing so far, it's been like phenomenal, and with Rise Gray, it does 3 checks, so no complaints. That's it for the megas. I'm only playing 5 because you usually don't use your top end that often. And yeah. From there, our tamer cards. We played 4 TK. Don't play 3 of this card, play 4. Because in the mirror, you want to be able to go first and play TK, taking a non-yellow card so that you're less security, so your TK card is triggered because they're the best cards in the mirror. And then against every other matchup, you want to be at 3 immediately. So what I'll do is I'll keep a TK to the side so I can explain combos with TK specifically. The other thing TK does, by the way, is it lets you craft your security. So like, you constantly know what's in your security stack, and you know what to play around, when to block, if we play blockers, or like when to, recover at certain points, etc. Like, it's just an insane card, probably the best tamer in the game. Then we played 4 copies of Zoe. Zoe does what TK does, except it takes a hybrid, any color hybrid, so if you want to tech this in any other hybrid type of deck, you can do that. And then its inheritable is give your security +3,000, which does come up. Making your security really big by putting a Zephyrmon on top of this, so your security is +6,000 for that following turn, is really strong. But having 8 cards in your deck that let you craft your security is really powerful. So it's kind of like in Yu-Gi-Oh, where you get to use your graveyard as a hand. In this, you get to use your security card as a hand. Like, you take what you need, you put in cards that potentially like do something to your opponent, or cards that you wouldn't need basically. So I think these cards are really strong, and my yellow hybrid is probably the best deck of the format. I'll keep TK there. So we play 4 Zoe. Change that I've made. I was playing 3 TK and Kari on Monday. I've chose to up it up to 4. The reason being is I want to see this card as fast as possible in the mirror, and I think this card in general against like almost every deck is really good, unless they're playing like a super aggro deck in which like it's not fantastic because you have to constantly recover out of it. Even against like a super aggro deck, I think it's just insane. Like this is the only dual tamer in the game that you can trigger for yourself. So you can put yourself to less security by playing cards like Blinding Ray, Dynasmon, Wargrey. So you can force them in positions where they have to give you 5, 7, 9, even 10 memory, right? With like a TK. So like you can even TK, take a non-yellow card, and then play this card, and then your opponent has 5 security, you have 4, and then they're left to either mill their own security, which if they're not playing yellow they can't do, aggress you, which gives you advantage because a lot of your cards are tamers, uh, or like they have to try to kill you, and if they don't kill you, they usually don't have enough resources to play the grind game. So this card is fantastic. Trying it at 4, I think it's really strong in combination, especially with TK. So, and in testing, it's been great. Like I just love seeing this card in the mirror. From there, I played 3 copies of the baby TK, little head TK, whatever you want to call him, 2-drop. He's only there because he's cheap. Like buffing your security is really cool, but a 2-cost yellow tamer is like really good for memory. That's it for the tamers, and the reason I kept TK out and why you want to go first, playing the mirror specifically, or like against most decks, like going first is pretty good. So you play TK, you put them forward, they can do whatever they want, right? But then you have any of these cards that synergize well into, let's say my opponent has a memory tamer, right? Then I can go TK, put me to 1, and then TK Kari, puts them to 3, which is perfect memory. If they don't have a memory tamer, I can play 2 of these, put them to 1 because this is 4. I can do double Zoe, take 2 cards out of my security, so I've gone through 3 cards of my security, puts them to 3 if they have a memory tamer. So a lot of these combinations of cards are just perfect memory, which is like fantastic, right? Because the less plays you allow your opponent to do, the better it is for you. So that's all I wanted to talk about with the tamer cards. I think the lineup's like really solid. From there, for option cards, I played 1 copy of Reinforcing Memory Boost. I played this in both the Monday deck and what I've been playing lately. I don't really care about its recovery effect, like that's whatever. If it's in security, I usually don't ever take it, unless there's like actually nothing better to take, like a Wyvern instead of the purple option. But the delay gain 3 memory represents like another hybrid that you can play that turn. So that's why it's really strong, and possibly even 2 hybrids if your security is at, if your memory for that turn is at an odd number like 5, because then you gain 3, you go to 8, you can play 4 hybrids that turn if you want to. Or if you're like at 3, then you go to 6, you can play 3 hybrids. If you're at 7, you go to 10, you can play 5 hybrids, you know? So very strong. 2 copies of Wyvern's Breath. I played this in the Monday deck, and I'm playing this as well. Just to deal with high-end cards. Like, you don't really want to ever see in your hand. It's mostly always sustained security, but it's really strong. Just deals with the high-end cards. Sometimes stops lethal. This was really good against my Diaboromon player, which that deck is kind of scary against this. Because it hit his blocker Diabora and let me swing for a game the following turn. So, really strong. From there, I'm playing 2 copies of Blind Ray. I think you have to play at least 1 copy in your main deck. And I'm choosing to play 2 because I think it's very important in the mirror. Like, being able to mill your own security is huge. Originally, I think this card was Susanumon, which is also really good. I might even play copy if I switch it, but I think this card has a lot of merit. This also represents another hybrid you can play on that turn. So like when your opponent doesn't think you have enough memory, you can go like, alright, Blinding Ray, play hybrid, kill you. So very powerful, allows you to do a lot of really good plays, allows you to activate your own TK and Kari so that your opponent is like really shut out of the game, which is kind of important as well. It also goes with the tamer concept to where if you're at like 5, right, or if you're at 3 because of regular TK, you play Blinding, go up to 5, then you play TK Kari, go to 1, and then like you can play this TK, put them to 1. So you have you put them to 1, so they have really no other plays, and then you start your turn at 5. for the rest of the turn because this can't be blocked by like memory blockers. So it's just a huge tempo swing for yourself. So I think Blinding Ray is like really strong. You can also like Blinding Ray yourself down to 0 and then Digivolve to Kazuchimon and then go back to 3. And then swing with that Kazuchimon for 2 checks if you have TK out. So that's huge. And then the last 4 cards of my deck, which are probably the best cards in my deck, are Swar's Lorarts. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. So if you don't know what this card does, for every Tamer and or Hybrid on your field, delete one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. And it activates Insecurity. And it's a 6 cost, so if you have a Memory Tamer, they have a Memory Tamer. It's perfect memory to play this card. And usually this card trades for like 1 for 3, 1 for 4. Like 1 for 2 is even really good. 2 for 1, I mean. You guys know what I mean. The inverse. If this card didn't exist, I probably wouldn't play the purple cards, but because this card exists, and it's probably going to be the most powerful card in the format, I think you just maximize on this card. I know some people play 3, and some people also play like Kari in their main deck and don't play the purple eggs. But the thing I like about the purple eggs is that it always guarantees I can play this card. And with this card being so potent, I think it's definitely, a 4 of. And that's the main deck as I've updated it today on Friday. Then we'll talk about the side deck, which I haven't changed because I don't think I'm making any changes to it right now. So, side deck, we played 2 copies of Avenge Kidmon. This is just for the Musket matchup because late game BL Star can be really difficult, especially with like Eismon stuff now and then sifting through their deck so quickly. For those who don't know, this card on play, I'll just read it for you. When playing this card from your hand, reduce memory cost by 1 for each option card in you and your opponent's trash, which is huge. On play, return all cards with 3 muskets in their traits and all option cards from both players' trash to the bottom of their owner's deck. So, which is also huge. You can put back Blinding Rays, reinforcing the purple option Wyverns, like just from your trash alone, and then all of their option cards, all of their musket cards. And then if you have 7 or more cards returned by this effect, you delete one of your opponent's 3 muskets or a Digimon with 8,000 or less, which means it kills a level 5 or lower usually, or it kills a musket card. And this card can usually play for free because you're usually not activating this card until the late game. It's just a free body you get to play that like destroys the musket matchup. So with side decks, I don't think musket is actually relevant ever. Without side decks, I think musket is actually a really good deck. But because this card exists, it just gets completely bodied by it. Next was a card me and my teammate Nobu talked about, and was actually fairly good into my Deborah matchup. I think it's like fairly good into green specifically. Can be okay into blue, I think, but you have a really great matchup against blue, so it's fine anyway. And then fairly good into the mirror, and that's 2 copies of Neo Devimon. So the real effect of this card is opponent's turn. When your opponent plays a Tamer, gain 3 memory, which is crazy because if they play a memory Tamer and you have this on board, you just gain 3, and you basically pass their turn every single time to play a Tamer. In a format where everybody's playing Tamer cards, like this card's just absurd. I think it's also really good against red because if they ever play a Tamer, even though they don't play a high amount of them, it just passes their turn. Against blue, it always passes their turn. Against like pretty much everything, it just passes their turn. So the thing actually that I was having a struggle with was, even though we talked about how good this card was as a floodgate, we never wanted to hard drop it. So because I didn't want to hard drop it, I dedicated a majority of my side deck to actually being able to tower into this deck. And I was trying to think what cards tower into this deck the best, or into this card the best, and I chose the Eismon package. So 2 of each Eismon, 2 of this one, 2 scatter mode. So this card on deletion, draw 3, discard 2, and then this card, if this card's discarded off a effect from your hand, and you have an Eismon scatter mode in your trash, you just bring it back. So the concept was, because Neo Devi was so good, but we didn't want to tower into it, or we didn't want to hard cast it, we would use the purple rookies that we already play. Let me see if I can find one. Such as like Elecmon, right? Which could have no value at the time. So we would Digivolve it into an Elecmon over like Demimare, which is also why I think Demimare is really good if you play this package. Then Digivolve the Elec into Eismon Scatter mode, which did 2 things for us. It thinned our deck, and then it also gave us aggression, which yellow doesn't normally have. We would swing with the scatter mode. If there was a demi mirror, we would probably scatter mode first, draw 3, discard 2, usually discard like an Eismon and like an option card, and then draw 1, discard 1. And then from there, we would use this Eismon to digivolve into Neo Devi. So for the cost of 4, if they don't have a memory tamer, which is huge, because you evolve into this for 2, and then you evolve into this for 3, sorry, so 5 cost. We got to establish a floodgate, we got to draw 4 cards, we got to play a free body, and we got to draw another card, which was like actually absurd. And it was really good. I think I sided this package in like every single match, and just sided out cards that weren't applicable. So I was really happy with this in my side deck. And then from there, the last 2 cards in my side deck were something that me and our Digimon chat talked about. So like myself, Nobu, Ari, Tyler, Kamal, like everyone in that chat, Dan, everyone, was Holy Flame, Vexy as well. This card actually won me a match. So my opponent had a Diaboromon that swung for 8. I had 7 security, so he swung, hit Holy Flame, which turned off his other 12 bodies, because when hitting security, all Digimon get security -1. So even if they digivolve to a hybrid that turn, it's a blanket effect, so it also stops aggression that way. And then the card he hit after was a Wyverns, which killed the blocker, so that I could swing for game the following turn. So this card is actually like fairly good into the mirror whenever they try to do the big push play, which is how you usually win the mirror. And yeah, so it was super powerful. I really liked it. It's not very good in your hand, but it's fantastic in your security. But even if it's in your hand, like it still has application. Like you can target a guy on field and give it security -3, which is like sometimes relevant if the Digimon is gonna swing for lethal. Like you target a Susanumon and then the Susanu does nothing. So really huge card. I loved it. Fantastic side deck card. I'd probably side in like most matchups. Maybe not like green, but like against blue, this card's fantastic. Against like Rookie Rush type decks, this card's fantastic. Because like you security -1 them, and then you play the purple option, you kill their whole board. So huge. And yeah, guys, that's the deck. You let me know what you think. If you like the explanation, if you like the card choices, or if you think there's something I could have did better, please comment it down below. Like the video, subscribe because I will be doing some more Digimon content, and follow me on Twitch where we can do some playtesting, some tournaments, and I do coaching every once in a while for free. So yeah, thank you guys. Have a great rest of the day.